Hello, hello, hello. We need a check in. I'm here for a check in. Luckily, this isn't messing up. At least not right now. Everything else has been messing up. But here we are. Gonna make this work. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. Let's check in. We got a lot of things going on. A lot of energy moving. How is everybody feeling? Hi, Judy. Hi, Tarot Goddess. How are you all feeling? We've got some interesting energy. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Crazy and spooky, for sure, for sure. Yes, yep, yes. Tarot Goddess. The energy is super crazy right now, but it's very different than what we have been experiencing. And so I think that's why it's like throwing us all off. Man, in in New Beginnings Live, my phone was messing up so much I didn't see a whole bunch of comments. I couldn't comment. It was just a hot mess. Hey King Hammer, thanks for being here. Yes, thank you. Hit the like button. We checking in. Okay. 72? 72 is also the numerical vibration of hip hop, of actual words, the words hip hop. So very interesting. All right. We got a lot going on. I'm sure everybody's feeling it. Sure, everybody's feeling it. So, whew, I think I put a list on here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Man, it looks small. Why is it so small? Let me see if I can make it bigger. Because I don't know if y'all can read that, but I can't. It's too small. Yeah. You and Judy have been running into each other all day. I've been in the shadows all day. Uh Mostly because my phone that I usually use has been messed up. Oh my gosh. 80, 80, 90, 90. Wow. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot going on. So, let's just dig in and then we'll see what we're able to explain, and what other questions you all have with everything that's happening. So, the big thing is that right now, the energy feels very different than it has been feeling. So, we are in a portal day today with the 1111 portal, which is it's kind of like how the 8-8 portal was more um like potent. It was stronger because more people um see it as a high energetic day or as an important energetic day. Same thing with 1111. But what's been happening this year, so from January until September, we've been in this spiral. So we've been in this 9 cycle that has been spiraling like this. So one starts there, and that's January, and then it went all the way to 9 for September, and it was building up all of this energy. So we were feeling that, like the building up of energy felt like a lot of like pressure building because it was like pushing a whole bunch of energy into one space, but it was a lot of like old energy. So that's why we were seeing a lot of like things that we would associate with like reap what you sow or like karmic energy coming back around. And then in September, it was like a washing of energy. And so then that felt very different. Felt like being kind of like in the car wash without the car, where you're just getting shaken all around. Um, and then in September, we had, or in October after September, we had like a huge flow of this nine energy into with the brand new energy, so with the 10 energy. So it was a like a big flowing of energy. And so now that we are in November, what is happening is that all of this energy that we've built up from January till September, and that has flown, like kind of swooped in and filled all the spaces and stretched everything out in October, is now being integrated. So it's kind of like if you were like, if you're like working out, what you're actually doing when you're building muscles is you're tearing the muscles, you're making small breaks in the muscle, and then you're adding more muscle cells in there, so then they start to bulk up. So we're at the point right now where the new cells have come in here, so the new energy has come in to fill this space, but they're not like connected to anything. So it's integrating in. So we're integrating in all of this energy. We're having to really figure out where it fits. And so this is very different because it's not like, oh, hi, New Beginnings. Thanks for being here. It's not like new things are coming in and you can see directly like, oh, this is brand new energy, this is a new opportunity, this is a new way of doing things, this is a new idea, a new thought, and you can jump with it. It's This is a little bit more unclear because we're having to figure out where are the spaces. So another example would be like if you're moving from like a 2-bedroom home into a tiny house, and you're having to find the places where everything can go, because in that new space it's really important that everything has a place or it's not going to fit, it's not going to function, you're not going to be able to move around and live. That's what's happening right now in November. And we've had a number of things that have contributed to it, especially in the last few days. So then we could go over here to my list. So these are all the things that I wanted to talk about that are really impacting us right now and will continue to. If there's any of these that you want me to expand on, let me know. I'm going to go through the list and I'll give you a little bit of information on everything, but tell me which ones you want me to talk more about. And then if there's anything else that's not on this list that you're kind of feeling and experiencing, let me know. Hi, Rusty. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so the first thing on this list is this 11/11 portal day. So that is today. Um we did have a portal day earlier this month on the 2nd, because November actually is resonating as 2. So it's an 11, but it's an 11/2. But this 11/11 portal day is always going to be much stronger. And really, so what happens on this day is that we see the energy is pouring into the space, but we've already been taking in all this energy. So instead of having energy come in, where typically what happens on 11/11 portal days is when new energy comes in to kind of like clear away your eyes so that you can see the two extremes very clearly. But we don't have room for this energy to come in. We have too much energy that has already come in. We've built up energy since January all the way to September. We've brought in a whole bunch of new energy. There's a lot of these things on this list that are trying to pump in more energy in. And so what's happening is this 11/11 portal is behaving a little bit differently today, where instead of bringing in new energy or new things that make things more clear, it's actually like lifting the veil on things. This is not typically what it does. It's like lifting the off of things that have been there. So it's kind of like if you have always lived in this same place. You've always lived in this same place, the same city, same house, and then all of a sudden you turn around one day and you're like, how long has that rug store been there? And then you look it up and you find out it's always been there. You just never saw it. So it's opening up the periphery vision. It's helping you to see what has always been there. And so that's a little bit different than it usually behaves. And it's, I think, a little bit more unnerving because we're still in retrograde season. So, retrograde season is when we have number of planets in retrograde. And retrograde just means that from our perspective on Earth, it looks like they are spinning backwards. And it's just based on like wherever we are in orbit and where these other planets are in orbit, that at certain points, when those planets are aligned in a certain way, it looks like they're spinning opposite. But what that's happening energetically is when we have retrogrades, it turns the energy inward and it forces you to turn the energy inward and more look at yourself or apply that energy to yourself. The other thing, though, is just even the word. So the word retrograde actually resonates at 111. So just even using the word retrograde is pulling energy into the space because it's pulling all of this new energy into the space. So the retrograde season is also trying to pull in. And right now, we currently have Saturn and Neptune are still retrograde. And both of these are retrograde in Pisces. So, hey Noah, thanks for being here. And then here, let me get them all down and then I'll explain what these are. We had Mercury go into retrograde on Sunday. So Mercury is now in retrograde. I don't know if that's spelled right. It looks weird, but whatever. And that is in Scorpio. And it'll be in retrograde until November 28th. And then later tonight, in actually a next couple of hours, we'll have Jupiter go into retrograde, and it's in Cancer. So, the universe trying to jack us up. But I think what helps me is to at least know what this energy is doing, what these vibrations are doing, like what message is being pushed through. Because then when you start seeing it and stuff starts happening, you're not freaking out about it. You could be annoyed, but you're not freaked out about it. So, the first thing to notice is that Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer are all of our water signs. These are our water signs. And water signs are directly associated with emotion. So with all of these retrogrades happening, it's turning all of that emotional energy inward. And what do people do when they have the emotions going inward? Either they cry by themselves or they lash out. Either they cry by themselves or they lash out. So this is what we have to watch out for in ourselves. And you could just notice it with other people that if somebody is lashing out emotionally, it's probably because they have a lot of emotion happening inward that they're not able to get out or process, or they don't want to. Hey, Tiptoe Joe! Thanks for being here. I saw your note. My phone was messing up, so I couldn't respond. But I saw your note that everyday thing went well today, so I'm so glad to hear that. So we have all of these retrogrades happening in this emotional place. But then we have these different planets that are actually contributing to this turning inward of emotions in a different way. And we have to, like, the biggest thing to remember, which I always say, is that vibration is neutral. And so it really is our perspective that is making any of these vibrations positive or negative in our life. We do have a lot of control over how they impact us, mostly just our response. But yeah, it can feel crazy as hell. So here's what's the craziness that's happening. So Saturn is all about structure. So Saturn is and has been, because Saturn has been in retrograde, I think, since May. It's about to come out of retrograde. It's been in retrograde for quite a while. But Saturn retrograding in Pisces it's trying to get you to look and structure your emotional state because of that water. Bring structure to it. Pisces is also the vibration of like imagination and creativity. So it's bringing structure to your imaginative state. So you can imagine what is happening here. If we're not being intentional and taking control over this vibration and using this vibration in an intentional way, then this could be pretty chaotic because our imagination can run wild without the structure. And we can become extremely anxious because our anxiety is trying to put structure around our imagination and our thoughts running wild. So that's what's happening here with Saturn. But this has been happening for quite a few months. And so, and it's going to end soon. So I believe that it's the end of this month. I think, you know what? I think it's actually November 27th is when, so right before Mercury comes out of retrograde is when Saturn will come out of retrograde also. But right now, also Saturn has been in Pisces, both going straightforward direct and going retrograde for the last like 3 years. So you could potentially be experiencing um, things that have happened around structuring your imagination that have like 3 years old coming back around, because this is the last time that Saturn will be in Pisces for quite a while. And so this is an opportunity to wrap that up. Make sure that all of your imagination, the way that you create, has some kind of structure around it, because that's how you ultimately benefit from it. So that's how we can turn that into a good thing. Now, Neptune has also been retrograde for quite a while, but it also had been in Pisces for, I think, 12 years. And it's now just going back. So with Neptune, you could be seeing stuff coming back around from the last 12 years. But again, this is one of the last times it'll be in Pisces for a very long time. And so it's an opportunity to wrap those things up. Neptune is the vibration of the dream state. And it loves being in Pisces because that dream state is where your imagination lives. It's that subconscious state. So right now, with Neptune back in Pisces, this is going to make your dreams crazy. But it also can bring up a lot of this emotion out of the subconscious space. So you could have a lot of dreams that are hitting you different emotionally. And so if that's happening, you want to make sure that you are just documenting it, because there's messages in all of that. Yeah, I know. But retrograde is actually a pretty good thing because, so like, let's talk about Jupiter that goes into retrograde tonight. This retrograde, I see this and feel this as a really good thing. Jupiter going in retrograde, hey, let's not use the same color again. Jupiter going into retrograde is actually a pretty good thing. So Jupiter moved into Cancer, where Cancer really is about nurturing and the home. And Jupiter is all about expansion, like making it bigger. So I know all of those of you that I have met since July, Jupiter went into Cancer in July. And when Jupiter is in Cancer, when it's in the direct location, so not turning around retrograde, it's expanding the nurturing outward. It's making your home space and those that you include in your home space bigger. So it's been expanding it out wider so that you're able to locate more people and vibrations to include in what you consider home and what you nurture. So like, we nurture the relationships of those that we consider family. So Jupiter in Cancer is this expansion of the home space. And then we're able to, now we have more people to pick and choose from to have as part of our family, to have as part of our home space. And that's what we've been seeing since July, is that we've had a lot of people like coming in and making new connections, and some have fallen off and some have continued. That's this Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter will be in Cancer for another like 2.5 years. And so this is a really good opportunity to be able to continue that work, nurturing those relationships outside of yourself and building them up stronger so that you can have a very strong family home base. It doesn't mean you got to accept everybody because we know that doesn't work like that. But it just means you have more of a range to choose from. And you can really find those that fit with you and that are going to nurture you like you nurture them. So with yes, Judy, building connections and building community. And right now, a lot of the messages that I've been getting is that a lot of the things that are happening in our lives and in our world, creativity and community are the things that will help heal it. That'll help us get over this crazy hump of things into a better life and a better world. So we still have about 2.5 years for Jupiter in Cancer. Also, so when we have Jupiter now turning retrograde, now this nurturing is turned inward. So this is an opportunity to amp up, expand your self-care, your self-love, but also receiving nurturing from others. So since July, we've started building out these connections in these communities. And now with Jupiter going retrograde tonight, it's now time to learn how to receive that nurturing, which is a very good, beautiful thing. Because I know as a big time nurturer with my rising in Cancer that it's very easy to nurture outward. It's harder to receive the nurturing and to figure out the balance between nurturing others outward and nurturing yourself inward, or allowing and receiving the nurturing outside of you to be nurtured, to nurture yourself. So Jupiter in retrograde is a wonderful thing. We have to, though, be careful and not try and force the vibration to continue to go outward. This means that if you are nurturing outwardly, or you're expanding that nurturing outwardly while Jupiter is in retrograde, it's going to be even more exhausting. So that's your cue that, oh, it's time to receive. I need to turn this energy inward and nurture myself, or I need to receive the nurturing for myself. This is what we're stepping into right now, and Jupiter will be in retrograde because it's a slow planet. It's a slow moving planet. So it'll be in Cancer for a total of about 3 years, and it'll be in retrograde, I believe, until February. So starting tonight until February, this energy really is going to be about how do we figure out how to nurture ourselves? How do we receive the nurturing? And how do we balance between? So if we're in community together and we're connected together, we still need to be nurturing outward because we need to be nurturing our community, but we also have to be able to receive. So that now we're balancing out that give and take within this new community. Because unfortunately, in the systems that we have grown up in, we never really learned how to be in community. We talk about what community is, but we really don't know how to be in community, especially those of us that have been born and raised in Western cultures. Um, so we really need to be open to learning how to both nurture and receive, but not in a transactional way. Jupiter is not transactional. We have other planets, other vibrations for that. Jupiter's not transactional. Actually, Saturn is more transactional. Saturn is more aligned with the vibrations of like karma or reap what you sow. That's more transactional. Jupiter is not. And Cancer definitely is not. So the opposite sign to Cancer is Capricorn. And Capricorn is the business person. Capricorn is the money maker. We're not there. We're in Cancer, which is the nurturer. Okay. Make sure you can hear me. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Let me know if not. All right. So the last retrograde that we're talking about is Mercury, which started on Sunday. And so Mercury is the planet of communication, not technology. So you hear a lot of times, okay, good, good. I'm glad you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Hi, LTFM. Thanks for being here. So Mercury is all about communication. But because we live in a, a state right now, like a world right now that's highly reliant on technology for communication, it can seem like um, Mercury retrogrades are impacting the communication or impacting the technology, but it really isn't. Um, the planet that's associated with technology is Uranus. Uranus, if you like to get a giggle. I used to always say that to my students. So that's why I always say it. So Mercury is all about communication. So when Mercury is direct, it's smooth, unbreaking communication. There's less opportunity for there to be miscommunication. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It just means that there's less opportunity for it. When Mercury is in retrograde, it's really causing there to be more miscommunication. Because when Mercury is in retrograde, now that energy is turning inward. And what happens is our inward communication, so our thoughts are more powerful than our outward communication. So our thoughts are very powerful. Our and our self-talk is very powerful during Mercury retrograde, but our outward communication can have some issues, can be a little bit broken up, or there's more opportunity for there to be miscommunications. But we also have Mercury in Scorpio, where Scorpio is the sign of deep emotions and mystery. So, with Mercury in retrograde, there's going to be a lot of the what is that word? Who is that person? What am I trying to say? I forgot what I was saying. I forgot what I was thinking. That's Mercury and Scorpio. All of those outward communications get lost beneath the surface. They become mysteries to us. And so we want to, with Mercury retrograde, we want to make sure that we are being extremely patient, intentional, taking our time with our outward communication. Especially because we just talked about where all of these retrogrades happening in these water signs, in these signs of emotion, in these vibrations of water and emotion. You have to be very careful to make sure that you are not projecting outward those emotions, those thoughts, that communication that really is supposed to be happening internally. So we have all of these other planets that are in retrograde that are trying to get us to look at these different things in our life. So Saturn's trying to get us to look at how can we put some structure to our imagination. Neptune is trying to help us to expand our dream state so that we can expand like our creative states. Jupiter is trying to get us to expand our nurturing and the receiving of nurturing. And now with Mercury in retrograde, we can mistake all of those things that these other planets are trying to tell us as something we're supposed to say outward. And that's not what it is. Then that's when miscommunication can happen. So it's even more so right now during retrograde season that what we are seeing and experiencing is happening inside first. Because all of this retrograde energy is being turned inward. And so what's happening inwardly is then coming out. So we have to be very intentional about how we're moving with this energy and what these vibrations are actually telling us. What are that messages actually telling us? And then on top of that, being in November and like today being the 11/11 portal, November is about the integration. So this is going to be even more intense. The turning inward of energy to integrate all of this energy that we've collected. So we built up all this energy from January to September. We pulled in new energy in October. And now here in November, we're needing to integrate it in. And we have to really figure out, and this is not like it's easier said than done. I haven't fully figured it out. But we have to figure out how to be able to utilize this retrograde energy with the integration energy of November. So then we are able to take in this new energy and find comfortable places for all of this new energy to be in. Because ultimately it all is impacting who we are, how we move in the world, how we connect with people, how we work with people, how we expand in all areas of our life, how we change in all areas of our life. And so thinking about that and knowing that, we have to see where do these vibrations, this energy fit. And when something feels itchy, so if there's something that is like really bothering you, it's usually because it's not vibrationally in flow. It's either poking a wound, so you're like, why the hell are you poking my wound? Get out of my face before I wound you. Because that's human nature. Or it's like it's not fitting. So I've heard a couple of people today talk about where it feels like walking sideways or being at a slant. It's because we're trying to align the energy. Part of integrating the energy is getting into alignment. So it's like when you have to get an alignment on your car. Like you don't get an alignment on those wheels and then you're driving like this. That's what's happening right now. So you have to really think about, all right, well, where is this energy coming in and how can I realign it? Where can I move it to? Where can I move my energy to? And if this is something that you're just starting to feel like today, it's probably that Jupiter in Cancer. And especially if you have any of your three major astrological signs, so your sun, moon, or rising, your ascendant in Cancer. Like I have my rising or my ascendant in Cancer. I know several of you in here have your sun in Cancer. You're going to feel it more. So if like feelings of being slanted or being off centered has started really today, it's most likely that Jupiter in Cancer. And we have quite a while, because Jupiter is slow, to really figure that out. But it's really figuring out the balancing between nurturing outward and nurturing inward. We have to figure out how to be able to receive. We have to be able to figure out how to nurture ourselves and do for ourselves. Because I know as a mother, I'm horrible at saying, everything I do for my kids. I've done it, always done it for my babies. What do my babies need? Then that's what I do. But that leaves a space where then I'm not getting what I need and I'm not being nurtured. And there have been times like when my kids were younger where, and even now when they're grown, where I reach out to them and I'm trying to nurture them and they turn around and they try to nurture me. You know, like when you get the little kid hugs where like your child for no reason just comes up and like hugs you. You're like, what the hell? That's the nurturing from outside that we have to learn how to receive. That's what we need to balance. And the universe has done this beautiful thing for us where Jupiter was in Cancer since July before going retrograde. So from July until now, the universe has expanded those people and places where you can receive nurturing. And now it's time to learn how to do that. So that's retrograde. That's a lot more than I expected to talk about, but yeah, I guess it was needed. The other thing that keeps coming up that I'll put here is that this vibration of 111 also is the word humanity. So when we are in retrograde season, we also are seeing and experiencing things as a whole set of people, all of humanity. It's something that's being experienced by all of humanity. Woo-wee, that was a lot. Okay, let me know if you have questions on any of this retrograde stuff. What I tend to do, because there's so much energy always, and especially right now, pick one. Pick one of these retrogrades that you really want to focus on. I would suggest picking like Jupiter will be more long term. Or if you want something more short term, pick Mercury. If you pick Mercury retrograde, that means from now until the 28th of November, you can really focus in on how to redirect your energy into those communication spaces. How do you give yourself the time and space to pull that communication out of that place of mystery, out of the subconscious, and communicate it in a way that's productive? So that's what I would say is pick one. And that's typically what I do is I pick one, at least one at a time. Okay, let's see. Let me see what you guys are talking about. You're right, LTFM. People do treat their cars way better than they treat their bodies, unfortunately. But that's why also our cars can be a good example of what we should be doing for our own bodies. Yeah. Yes. 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 See, new beginnings. And so these are our cues. These are our little like tapping on the shoulders from the universe saying, okay, it's time to learn to receive. Time to learn to receive. Yeah, like you can work on all of these at one time, but that's a lot. I don't know why you want to do that. And remember, everything is on a cycle. Everything's on a cycle. And so this will come back around again. So you can also set goals around these things. Where even though like Neptune, which is the slowest moving planet out of this list, um, is moving into Aries, so it won't be in Pisces. It'll be in Aries for like 12 years. So it's even like, even if it's just, okay, I'm going to just prepare for the next time Neptune is in retrograde. It'll be in Aries. That's at least something. Don't try and do all of this at once, because then you go crazy. Believe me, I know I've tried it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so let's see what else we got on this list. Okay, so we talked about Mercury retrograde. We talked about Jupiter retrograde. Okay, yes. So the other thing, all right, let me catch up in the chat and then we'll talk about this last quarter moon. Told you it was a lot. We got a lot going on today. Let me know in the chat if there's anything else you want me to make sure to incorporate. All right, I'm catching up. Yeah, you do have limited time and limited energy, but it's a cycle. It'll come back around. Can use it again. Like Mercury retrograde happens, I think, like 3 or 4 times a year. So, figuring out a plan on how to make Mercury retrograde a good thing, that could take some time, but it would be worth it. Yeah. 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 No, you're right, LTFM. Like that, we have to work with what we know. So when I'm not very good. I don't think any of us are really good at going to the doctor, especially if you're living in the United States where you don't have health insurance, or it's limited health insurance, or it's just a hot ass mess for health insurance. Uh we have to then figure out what we can control. So, like one of the things that I learned um about a year and a half ago, a little more than that, almost 2 years ago, is I learned that I could help my energy to flow through so that I didn't feel like overwhelmed by it, um, just by having more muscle. So that's why I be at the gym all the time, because muscle conducts electricity, vibration, and energy better than fat. Fat actually holds trauma, and so just by making sure that I'm in the gym and moving, because just moving, like just a regular walk or regular movement, is going to help keep the energy flowing through your body so you don't get stagnant energy. And then for me, adding on muscle really helped me to keep my energetic state healthier. So then hopefully, like, I just went to the doctor. It was horrible. They never know what to do with me. They're like, your body makes no sense. But those are different things. And remembering that everything is energy. Everything is energy, including all of the food that we eat. So one of the reasons why we have so much processed food and those are our only options is because they're very low energy sources. They're low vibrational sources of energy. So keep the energy moving is the big thing. Okay. I went on a tangent. Sorry. So now I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, yeah. No, I remember. It was the last quarter moon. Oh, why does that happen? All right. So this morning, we had the peak of the last quarter moon in Leo. And so the last quarter moon is the end. It's like the completion or the harvest of that 2.5 year moon cycle. And so this begins a 9-month stint. So we have 9 months to bring all of these intentions that were set at the new moon to completion. So that's some of what we're feeling also. Is like, I don't know, the last quarter moon kind of hits me different because it feels like a loss sometimes, depending on what the intentions were at the new moon. It could feel like you've lost something. And so this last quarter moon today, so this will go for 9 months. So you have 9 months. I don't know why I wrote it like that. You have 9 months to like bring all of these things to completion. And when we do that intentionally, it's much better. So this new moon, the new moon in Leo was August 16th, 2023. So anything that was started, not just August, because it would have been from the new moon until the first quarter moon. Let me see if I can find that. I'll tell you here in just a minute. There we go. So from August 16th until May 15th, this is when new intentions or new seeds were being planted. So what's coming to an end um, at this last quarter moon time would have started during the first or the new moon. So that's how we can better understand what is coming to an end, what potentially is coming to an end. What do we need to harvest and complete? So if you journal, you could go back and see what was happening in this time period. If not, just look at your calendars or think back to this time period. So, like from the end of summer 23 until right before the summer started in 24. Anything that was new that started then, whether it was a new idea, new behavior, new people coming in, all of the lessons that are wrapped up in this time period is what's coming to an end in the next 9 months. Hey, lovely. So this is another thing that we need to just pay attention to and know it's happening. So with any of these things, one of the reasons why it feels so much stronger right now is so if we have like this time period for retrograde, we feel this retrograde energy the most at either end. So like Mercury retrograde just started on Sunday. And so until for Mercury retrograde going from Sunday until probably about tomorrow or Thursday, it's like the first little half, we feel stronger because it's a change. And then we get used to it. We kind of are used to having that feeling and integrating that in. And then we'll feel it again at the other end. So like this would be from like November 28th until probably about December 2nd. Ew, that looks gross. I don't like how you look. I'm erasing you. Until about December 2nd. So we feel it more on these ends. We also, the same thing is for like any of these moons. It'll like peak. So this is the peak of the moon energy. So like today, where it's the last quarter moon, it'll peak and then it'll kind of level out and then taper down. So we feel it the most right around this peak. But this whole thing will last 9 months. Or like this whole retrograde. So Mercury retrograde lasts 3 weeks. But then something like Neptune retrograde will last like 6 months, I think. So it's really because we're near these end points at the same time that we're feeling it so much more. So today we have the 11/11 portal. We just had Mercury retrograde just started on Sunday. So we're still in that window of feeling those effects. We had Jupiter in retrograde start today or tonight. And so we're still in the window of feeling those effects. We had the last quarter moon today. And so we're still right there at that window, at that peak where we're feeling those effects. So this will start tapering off. We'll start feeling better. But right now, while we're aware of it, this is when we can be more intentional of how to use that energy. Because once we get used to it, we're kind of set in our ways. We don't see it anymore. We don't experience it as much anymore. It's kind of like if you have that annoying light, which I've had lots of those in like just about everywhere I've lived, where there's like one light that has like a weird buzzing sound. And you're like, oh, I can't live here because that's going to drive me nuts. And then somewhere along the line, you get used to it and you don't hear it anymore. Or like you only hear it when you turn it on and off. So then you get used to it. So that's why we're feeling it so much more today in particular. We also, though, have other things that are happening. Oh, you are so right, LT. Meditation is medication. That's why I make sure I meditate twice a day and only take my man-made medication once. Once a day for man-made meditation twice. We also have a lot of things happening in the sky. Exactly, Tiptoe Joe. You don't know that your smoke detector is beeping like that until somebody else points it out. Oh my gosh, that's like the best example ever. Yes. So right now, the damn thing just started beeping. So we hear it. Or we just walked into somebody else's house and we hear it. But soon it'll integrate in, especially with this integration time of November. And so we want to make sure that we're being very intentional on how we're integrating the energy. Hey, Josh. I'm glad you could make it. Thanks for being here. I'm not surprised you're late because, I just came on randomly to check in and talk about all this crazy stuff that's happening. But we have a ton of stuff that's happening in our solar system right now. So we just had this three-eye atlas was like behind the sun. It was like on the other side of the sun from us. And so we couldn't really see it here on Earth. So it was interacting with the sun a lot. And it just recently came back out into view. And when it came out, oh my gosh. I was trying to find a picture, but you could probably look it up. But so it's like this. I'll draw a picture. So here's our sun. Ooh, pretty. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun. Okay, so there's our sun. And here's Earth. This three-eye atlas at first was like way out here, but we could see it and we were just watching it. And so while it was moving like closer and closer to the sun, it got like about here and all of a sudden it turned a different color, which was unusual. And everybody was like, oh no, what's happening? It's so weird. And then it moved more like here, and it got bigger. Like the cloud around it got bigger. But this whole time it was like moving very fast. That's why it's called an interstellar object instead of a comet. But then it went like behind the sun. So then we couldn't see it. And while it was behind the sun, what we could see was that there were these sunspots on the sun. And that's what shoots out like solar flares. It shoots out a bunch of like sun energy. Well, this sun energy was like shooting straight at 3i Atlas. And so it already had like this bigger green hue from the minerals that were on it. And then when it came back out, now it still has the green hue, but it also is like really bright, like super bright, where it's like looks more like a star. Like it's crazy. And it all of a sudden, so this whole time it didn't have a tail, and so it's like, oh, that's why it's not a comet. Well, now it has like, I think it's like 5. So look at that, it looks all crazy. And one of them is like forming kind of like a comet tail. Ooh, that looks creepy. Look at that creepy eyeball I drew. That's scary. So it's like gathered all this energy. And at every single point, it's been like disrupting the vibrational flow of our solar system, because it's like intercepting communication between the planets and between the sun and the planets. And now it's doing that even more so, but it's getting ready to just leave. So everybody's watching intently to say, okay, crazy, creepy eyeball, you can just leave now. Thank you. Bye bye. Go away. But it's been very interesting to see. It does need some clear eyes. How its positioning in our solar system has been so like aligned with things that have been happening. So like it was literally in Libra, which is the sign of justice, and yeah, like justice and law, when that UMG case was dismissed, or when all this stuff was happening in court, or people were like getting arrested and stuff. It was in, yeah, it was in that state. It was in Libra. So it's been interesting to watch it. So that's another kind of energy that we are experiencing, because it is changing how the energy and vibrations are flowing around the earth. The other thing that is happening is that, well, we could actually draw it right here. So just like how when 3i Atlas was over behind the sun, and it was getting hit with these sun beams, these solar rays, like solar flares, now these sunspots are facing us. And we've had 3 pretty big solar flares that are scheduled to hit the earth between today and the 13th. And this, when this happens, it really is when we just like feel like changes, like very drastic changes in the barometer. This is when you would get like some freak storm that came out of nowhere, is a lot of times associated with solar flares. But also because the earth is having to absorb that solar energy also, this is also a time when we typically will see more earthquake or earth activity. So, more movement and rumblings of like the volcanic energies, and also more like earthquakes. So, really, what's happening right now is we have a shit ton happening. We're in this energy of November where we're supposed to be integrating this energy. But as it's almost like as we're integrating, more energy is coming in. And we just don't have space for it. But not just us, but the earth doesn't have space for it either. And so there's a lot of like movement and release of energy for the earth that comes in the form of earthquakes, weird weather, volcanic stuff. And so we would expect to see those increase over the next few days. But for us, this is where we could, if you have a sensitive nervous system, which most of us do, this is when you could have more sensory issues, where things are more irritating. It's like if the tag in your shirt is irritating on a regular day, now it's 10 times more irritating because your body is trying to absorb this energy. You could also see this in our emotional state because everything in our body is connected. So if we have something that's impacting our nervous system, we also usually would feel this in our joints. So like if you have issues where an old injury or your joints have problems, when there's changes in the weather, this could be impacted over the next few days. And we know that when you're in pain, you can't help but to be more grumpy. So it impacts your emotional state. It also impacts your mental state. So we need to very much make sure that we are just aware of what is happening in the energy, so we're not making it worse by freaking out. So if you have some irregular aches and pains, I know there are some of us that are always in pain. This might be a time where you notice that you're in pain, because unfortunately when you've been in pain for a very long time, you stop noticing. This would be a time that you may notice. Or if you are relatively healthy and you haven't been in pain and all of a sudden you get some weird pains, it's probably from this energy flow. So don't freak out. What you want to do with any of these, so whether it's this solar flare energy, and I'll write it here again, that this really is from like the 11th till probably about the 13th or 14th. So if you're experiencing this, like you feel this, you feel any of these retrogrades while we're in these windows. So like we're at this front window for so like we're feeling very much Mercury that just went into retrograde, and Jupiter that just went into retrograde. But then we're also feeling Saturn, who's getting ready to end its retrograde. So if you're feeling this energy, where you're feeling like the energy is moving weird in your body and like coming in and out of your body. That's that retrograde feeling. Also, if you're feeling anything extra around this last quarter moon, so senses of loss, of endings, could be enhanced right now. So if you're feeling any of these things, if you're experiencing any of these things, the best thing to do is to get your energy moving. When our energy is not moving, that's when we get sick. That's when we can get disease. That's when we can have panic attacks, we can have anxiety, and all those extra issues. And especially because our retrogrades are in all of those water signs that are in the emotional states. So your emotions can be all over the place. We really want to make sure that we're working intentionally with the energy. So move more. I don't care what it is. You do some chair aerobics, do some chair yoga, get up and dance. When you're going to your favorite live Koalaholics, move with all of the music. Keep your body moving. Also, be very intentional about the amount of water that you're drinking to keep things moving through your body. Because everything is energy, including the shit that comes out of you. Sorry to put it that way, but I didn't know how else to say it. So make sure it's flowing out appropriately. Drink lots of water. Make sure you are touching grass. Get your feet on the ground. Get some meditation in. Whatever works for you, you want to just get that energy moving and keep it moving, and you'll be good. Oh, that'll be great. I gotta look and see. When is her birthday again? Oh, on the 15th. Okay. Yeah, that'll be great. What? Say it loud, say it proud. I poop and I'm proud. So that's what we have going on right now. It's not, okay, I know it's a lot, but it's not anything to freak out about. Like, that's why I came live. I wanted us to be able to talk about it, and bring awareness, because first you have to be aware of what is the vibrations and the energy that is around you, and then you are intentional. You have to intentionally make sure that what you're doing is helping you work with the energy. Yes, exactly. Yep. See? Because that's the message that the universe is telling us, Josh. That is the message. That there's a lot of energy right now. And in November, especially, it's about integration. It's about finding where the energy fits, being very intentional with it. Right now, our whole galaxy, like the whole solar system, the whole Earth, is like a sponge that's filled with water. So it already is filled with all of this energy. And so any more energy coming in is just flowing out. But that means we have lots of energy and vibration that we can use towards things that we really want to happen. We could be very intentional. So, like for this last quarter moon, if we go back and we look at what were some of the things we were doing or we wanted to do starting in this time period of August 23 to May 24, now we can take the next 9 months and we have all the energy we need. We have a ton of energy. So it's not that we don't have enough energy. We just have to be intentional with it. It's like seeing a rushing river, knowing you need to get to the other side. Are you going to choose to try and swim to the other side? You want to try and swim through the rapids? Or are you going to get a boat? And on top of that, are you going to do it alone or are you going to do it with other people? Being very intentional is how we can direct the energy into the spaces that we really want that energy to go, so we can make it work for us and it's not working against us. Okay. I don't think I don't have nothing else. But is there anything that you are feeling or experiencing, especially today, that isn't answered by what we just talked about? Or that you have any questions about? Oh, yeah, hit the like button. Oh, the 80, you had two 80s and two 90s, Judy? Is that what you wanted to look at? Thanks, New Beginnings. Hit the like button. Yes, we could talk about 80, 90 in the span of 3 minutes. Indeed. Actually, just talking to you all about all of this is making me feel better. Hopefully, it's making you feel at least a little bit better too. At least understanding what this energy is and that we're kind of all experiencing it. All right, so let's look at 80 and 90. Oh, sorry, hold on. Okay, yep, I was getting that, Judy. Want me to write it this way: 80 times 2. Oof, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I know I got quiet. I'm trying to listen to what this message is. I'm trying to get it out the way it wants to be read. or it needs to be read. Mm, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. All right. So here we go. So really, it's this part down here that's the message. Um, so the first thing to recognize is all of the zeros that are here. So that means that each one of these vibrations of 8 or 9 are being enhanced by this God or universe energy. So that just lets me know that it's like this message is really important. But it's really important on like a bigger level than just each of us as an individual. So like when you see like the triple numbers or even the double numbers that are trying to get your attention, those usually are mostly for the individual. That the message can relate to other people because they could be connected to that same vibrational wave, but it's really more about the individual. When you have a lot of zeros in here, now it's really telling you that this energy, this message that's coming in is it's bigger and outside of ourselves. So even though it may be an individual that's picking up on the vibrations, it really is outside of ourselves. And we need to make sure we pay attention to that. Cinnamon and Jupiter, I'm so glad you made it. Yeah, energy has been crazy today. Yep, with Jupiter going in retrograde. For sure. For sure. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming by. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, I go live randomly. Randomly sometimes. So we're looking at these vibrations that are coming in that are a series of 80s and 90s. So the zeros very much are like this God universal energy. And we don't just have the zeros there, we have it at every level of this message. And so what's happening here is this message is letting us know, look, there's energy that is coming back around because it's this cycling energy of this 8. It's the cycling energy of this 8 is coming back around, and we're needing it to bring on an ending. But this very much feels more like the energy of this year, which is more of shifting energy than it is of ending energy. It's like cleaning up the energy and shifting it. So we have this cycling energy that's coming back around. So we have like this reap what you sow energy coming back around that's enhanced. It's like this energy has been chosen by God to come back around. So it's not just that it's coming back around, but that God energy, that universe energy is enhancing it and saying, this is specifically for this shifting that is happening. And the shifting that is happening, it is very important because we're needing it to take action in flow, in vibrational flow. That vibrational flow is really about the foundations of things. So the foundations of things is needing to be examined and challenged. And those foundations, so our foundations in our life can be um, the way we think, the way we do things, anything that gives us stability. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. We have to examine those foundations and see where are we standing upon something that really isn't stable or that we should not be standing on. Examine the foundation so that true growth can happen. Once we get into that vibrational pocket of this true growth, then we're able to take the action and flow. So step one is to examine the energy that's coming back around. What is this repeating energy that's coming back around? We see this both at an individual level of like the same patterns of energy coming back around in our lives, but we are also seeing it at a bigger universal level where we're seeing this in our moon cycles, because like we have the last quarter moon today. We're also seeing this in the movement of the planets, which they all move in a cycle. They all move in a cycle. So we want to first examine the energies that are coming back around, the cycling energy and how we can use it. We want to use it within the shifting. And how it would be used in this shifting is to examine the foundations of things, break up the foundations that aren't working or that we should not be standing on, and build up the ones that really are strong and are for us so we can grow. So thinking about this growth, if you are building a magnificent building, you have to have a strong foundation for it to be able to be built up. So that's what this is for. We're building and we're growing so we can take action. There's going to be action that's coming up that is going to need to be taken. And so we have to prepare for it. Judy, I know these numbers came from you. So do you or anybody else have any questions about this? While I wait for you in the chat, I'm going to go back to our list and I'll do a quick run through for anyone. And for all of us, do a quick recap. So pretty much what we talked about today is that we have all of these different energy sources, these different vibrations that are really impacting us more today than other days. We had Mercury retrograde started on Sunday. We had Jupiter retrograde start today. We also have the last quarter moon today. And of course, it's the 11/11 portal day. But then we also have all of this stuff that's happening outside of the Earth in the universe, where the sun is highly active right now and interacting with this three-eye atlas. And three-eye atlas has been in our solar system space, and it's been changing the directional flow of a lot of the energy and the vibrations we've been seeing. So it's still doing that. And after it has come from behind the sun, it is now like activated. It's like it's been activated. And so the energy that it's coming off of it is more, but also different than it was before. So we have to watch for that. Because of this intense sun activity, we are on watch for earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and for weather. The only one that we really need to just pay attention to is some of the earthquake watches are near populated places. So a lot of the volcanic activity and the earthquake activity typically is in the ocean, and does not impact us on land very often. But right around Japan, there seems to be some earthquake activity that could potentially be impactful. We have seen some impactful earthquake movement in the Philippines recently. So we want to watch for that, and just be aware. This is just the earth moving and releasing energy, and we just want to be aware of it. Also, just be aware of the weather. There, with these sun flares coming in, there is a potential for some crazy weather. So we just have to be prepared and make sure that we are nurturing each other, we're nurturing ourselves, and we're moving in community. No more of this I can do it by myself crap. We need to be moving and working together, because that's going to amplify and enhance the energy that we're using and that energetic flow. It's much easier to get to the other side of a big river as a group in a boat. Yes, you're right. We also have the polar vortex. You're so right, Cinnamon and Jupiter. There's so much happening right now. There's a lot happening right now. The earth is very much in ascension mode. The earth is taking in a lot of energy and shifting its dimensional state. And because we are here on earth, there's a lot of that we're forced into also. But it also gives us a really good opportunity to raise our vibrational states as well. We have enough energy to be able to do that. But we have to be intentional. So first, it's be aware, know what's happening, know what energetically is coming in and vibrationally hitting us, and then be intentional, because any vibration, any and all vibration is neutral. It's really our perspective and how we choose to intentionally use it that changes what it does in our world. So we can use it to manifest anything, but that means good things and bad things. So we have to be intentional of how we want that energy to flow in our life. Yeah, you're right, Josh. It does keep coming up. And we have that number sitting up there for the week. That 997. And remember, 99 is the numerical vibration of the word ascension. And we're in a 9 year. And we just saw that we're continuing to work with that 9 energy. And that this 9 energy really is about shifting. And that's what ascension is. It's taking that energy and intentionally shifting. So when you're doing any of your healing work, that's intention of how you're using the energy. When you're doing any of your visualizations, when you're doing your journaling, when you're doing your goal planning, even just making sure that you are journaling or talking about things outward, that's taking it from your subconscious and bringing it to your conscious state. That's bringing it to a state of awareness, so then you can intentionally work with that energy. So all good things. So it's figuring out how to get your energy moving and keep it moving. But intention, 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 intention. Make sure that you are being intentional on how you want that energy to flow in your life and how you want to use it. Okay, good, Judy. I'm glad that answered your question. Thank you for bringing those numbers. Okay. Well, I think this was a good check-in. I am gonna go and eat and go to bed. Probably take a salt bath because that's what I have found is one of the things that really helps me a lot in keeping my energy flowing is taking salt baths. So I try and do that like once a month at least. But also, when you have all of this energy, that's another thing you could do. And so I'm going to eat. If you have a lot of energy flow, making sure you're eating things that help you ground are good. So a lot of root vegetables are wonderful. And I'm going to go relax and go to bed. And I hope you all have a good night also. I will be back for sure on Friday and then for sure on Saturday. And we'll see. We'll see how this energy goes if we need another check-in. But I think this was a good one. Thank you all for being here. Please make sure that you hit the like button on your way out. I really appreciate you all. You got this. We got this. We can work with this energy. We're here for a purpose, so we need to use intention. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you all on Friday or sooner, because I'll be around. Bye.